Alrighty there. Well, we have some really new stuff for this video. First of all, you'll be glad to know that we've tried to clean up our act after watching the last video, where I noticed that my hands were very, very grubby looking. Those are my hoof stained, or hoof plex stained fingernails. Yes, it does stain. You might want to keep it off your hands, but also I've noticed my arthritis has gotten better. Since I started dumping copper hoof plex all over myself. I also used it on my neighbor's toes, and her toenail fungus went away. Alright, so I decided that we need a little bit of a wardrobe change. So I've got a manicure. Yeah, I figured blue, that's the only color I could find. I figured blue would fit in good with all this dead stuff. So now I have zombie hands. Alright, so anyway, I take that hoof plex, I put it in a little squirt bottle here, and whenever I trim a horse, I treat the frog and the hoof, and I don't have any thrush. That's right, you know, so they're not paying me to do this, but it's wonderful stuff. Okay? I bought this gallon for $35.98 plus tax. I'm working on my second gallon. Alright. So anyway, this is a continuation of the last video I did on foot rotation. The problem is, in farrier and vet school and all that, okay, they're looking at x-rays more than they are the whole internal foot. And so I got a coffin bone here somewhere. So they call this coffin bone rotation when they take an x-ray and the foot rotates. They see the foot rotated within the capsule, because all you can see is this bone. But you can't see, and of course all these feet are dried up, so I can't really show you, but all this back here, all the lateral cartilage here, the heel in here, that's all soft cartilage. If I had a fresh dissection, I would be able to move all of that independently, back and forth like this, up, down, around. And so you have to remember, this coffin bone here is attached to a foot. It's never coffin bone rotation. It is always foot rotation, because the whole foot rotates to one degree or another. I'm also going to put up a video showing you how this whole foot rotates. And in the last video I did, I showed you a little bit. Like, here's your hoof capsule. There's your foot in the capsule. Of course, we don't see the sole here. Okay, and what is happening is that toe wall and the whole is becoming released, and the whole thing is rotating up like that, so that actually the true capsule of the horse has gone like this. Okay, but what people don't realize is that, of course, as this toe wall is coming up like this, the wall from here to here is growing down with it. So you'll notice that you'll have a very straight hairline. See, because what? The hairline is supposed to be at an angle. Kind of about a 20-degree angle going from the here back to the heel. But what you'll see is you'll start getting a different angle. Like this, straight across. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean all the time that the capsule is rotated. It could just be that on this part of the foot right here, they have allowed it to really grow long. Say that happens too. Then you'll have a straight across hairline as well. But the signs that we're to look for in hoof rotation, if we understand and know the shape of this internal foot, like, see, the whole foot, we're talking about not just where the hoof capsule grows down to, but the whole foot itself is this whole portion right here, including this lateral cartilage, the bulbs, all that. So we want to look at this whole portion of the foot, and when you'll see it in rotation is, you'll notice, see, okay, let's look at this foot here. Okay, now if the hide were on here, right here. It would be as thick up to about here. And there's a very smooth transition here. All right? But when you have a rotated foot, okay, the capsule is going to stay here. See, there should be a smooth, of course, this I got a little weird. I should cut part of that out so that fits better. But you'll see right up here in this area of the coronary band, you'll see it tilted and bulging. Okay, and instead of the wall being, well, sometimes the wall can still be straight down like this. Okay, but a lot of times you'll see like partially down, the wall will come straight down, but then maybe about here, you'll see it diverge out like so. All right, so what you need to understand about this whole foot rotation within the capsule is, okay, now this is Cat Dancer's foot. She had total lamina disconnection. Now, the two ponies I'm working with at this time, they're disconnected back to here. All the lamina, all around here, is stretched just like this. Okay, but they still have a good connection just on this part of their foot right here. So when I relieve the laminar wedge, I'm relieving it clear back into here, around the toe. Because otherwise, because this whole hoof capsule is one piece and connected together, otherwise, that toe that's going like this, it just continues to keep pulling these heels forward and down like that. Okay, now, so I'm very glad I at least have lamina connection right here in those horses. This horse was totally disconnected and totally detached from the hoof capsule, even though it was still on her foot. Again, these, okay, that's what you'll find in the toe when you rasp into it. You'll find dead necrotic tissue. That was one of her feet. This is the other one right here. See there? Again, to remind you of the laminar wedge. See how, see, even though this lamina was still damaged in her foot over here, very much so, very stressed, but the main part of her disconnection, you can see, was in a wedge shape or a half moon shape, less here, but getting thicker around the toe. So that if I was going to trim this horse today, I would have taken off I would have taken off all this right here. I would have relieved all this so there was absolutely no leverage on this whatsoever, clear back into here. And it probably supported the foot. If you're a farrier, you could support it with a shoe maybe, you know. If you've really rasped down into the wall and you're very close to the sensitive lamina, you might not necessarily want to put Vet Tech epoxy on it. And if you do, you sure don't want to pull it off, because I know somebody that did that. They were just telling me about it, how they had tried that. And they had a farrier, as far as I know, do it. And then instead of just leaving that on there and rasping it down, I guess when they went to do it the next time, they tried to pull it off. And it pulled all the lamina out of the sensitive lamina right here. So that made a mess. So you can really rasp down these walls and these laminar wedges quite a bit and not get to the sensitive lamina. Here, see there? How much I've rasped down of this wall here, and I'm still not even close to where the toe would have been. Right there? See there? See, okay, this foot has to be set down like so, okay, because see, the heel's high. See there how the bar, see, when I first did this, I thought the bar had grown and pushed the foot up. That's not what happened at all. Okay, what happened was as the foot rotated, okay, and the back got higher up, well, the bar, it's just growing down. That's all it was doing. It was not the bar pushing the foot up, but you can see how... and like I've shared on here before, she actually had two sets of bar, because finally the foot rotated so much that it was totally detached almost from the inside of the capsule. And there's a nice ugly wasp. Hate wasps. All right, so what I want to explain to you is part of the manifestation that can happen here is that, okay, like on this foot, okay, you'll get a very pooched out frog. You won't have any depth right in here. A lot of times the collateral groove will be very, very deep. And that is because of the way the foot is rotating in the capsule. The capsule is kind of staying stationary, but the foot is rotating within it. And the growth, as the foot grows, the wall grows from the coronary band, that's kind of covering all this up. And a nice tight white line can cover it up as well. So what we really want to get to know is, we want to really get to know and understand this whole inner foot. And once we really see this foot, we'll be able to look at exterior things on the capsule, up in here, back in the heel area, that'll tell us we have a rotated foot. Okay, so kind of what I'm going to try and do here, if I can, is I want to, okay, now this was Cat Dancer's foot. It was off this foot here with the bad laminar wedge. Okay, now this is the way the capsule should fit. Firmly fitted to the internal foot, just like my fingernail is very well connected to my nail bed. All right, we don't want anything, anytime I get anything between the nail bed and my finger, that's going to cause me pain. It's not that correct. Well, this stuff, even though this stretched lamina, proliferated lamina here, that is developing as the foot is being pulled back from the wall. Okay, at first it's there and it kind of helps the horse keep his foot together, but after a while it becomes very hard, just like hoof wall, and it can become a real enemy in the foot. Once it's trapped in there, again, you don't even see it in there. Look, that nice tight white line, but yet that can be going on in your foot, and this can be in there from one degree to another. You know, one amount to another within a foot. Even a stretched out toe can have this in it. Anytime this wall here gets separated, you're going to have stretched lamina, and it can become worse and worse and more stretched to where you can have this much. Now, what I want to try and explain to you, okay, because part of the problem is looking at the bottom of the foot and determining how close the toe of this coffin bone is to the sole right here, because you're trying to rest, you're trying to relieve the toe. You need to find the toe of this coffin bone in these feet that are rotated so that you can bring the breakover back all the way around and get the leverage of the hoof wall off the foot so it can start repairing itself, growing down correctly and things like that. So part of the problem is people really don't understand, and they're not seeing what is going on in this foot. Now, we know, okay, we know, look at what grows from the bottom of the foot here. The frog, okay, the bar, the sole, right? Okay, now we know that we can remove a hoof capsule, all right? Okay, now what is happening when these feet are rotated, and because of the growth of the hoof, is that the foot is actually being grown and forced and shoved out of the capsule. And therefore, that's why on her, she was eventually totally separated from the sole of her foot here, and was actually growing another sole in between this sole here and her sole coring. All right, so yep, there's another one of her feet. So what I want you to understand is how you can look at this, how you can have X-ray vision, all right? And you can tell where this hoof is in the capsule. But one thing I want to explain to you, all right? And so I made this little deal here. I don't know if this is going to work at all. Okay, now see, I don't know if you can see that. See there? This is the frog. Right here. Okay, this is the rim of the internal foot here. Okay, the coffin bone, which goes up to about here. Here's your frog that's grown. the placement of the frog that's grown. Okay, here's your end of the wall. I'll try and fill this in a little so you can see it more. But I want you to see what happens to the toe. Okay, so we're going to put this up here. Now this can happen in stages. Okay, so this is, I hope you can see this. This kind of, all right, there we go. See there? Okay, now if, let's say we can't see, where this is our invisible sole. All right, that we're looking down into the foot. Now, I'm going to show you what happens. I'm going to try and show you. When this foot with the capsule, okay, rotates, the foot rotates. Okay, now at this time, here, let's give him a little bit of more sole. There we go. Now we have a space. I have a space of over 1/2 inch in between this glass and the foot that you're seeing in there. And so there's quite a bit of room in here, a space between, in the sole area here, between this glass, which would be the surface of our external foot, the sole, all this right here. Okay, there's quite a bit of distance between the sole and the, let's see, let's get that back here. The toe of the internal foot and the sole of the foot. But when the coffin bone rotates, okay, now I want you to see, try and hold this there, what happens? Okay, right there. Okay, now did you notice how the frog apex, as the foot is drawn back, what happens to the frog apex? It moves right up to the tip of the toe, right? Okay, and now I can feel this toe on the bottom of my glass here. So what happens is, you wind up getting quite a bit of sole and thickness back here, very deep collateral grooves. Let me see if I can show you this to the side. Okay. Okay, now my toe is clear back here now. Okay, and that's why if I were to just rasp this off straight right here, I'd run right into the toe of my foot. Okay, so what I have to do is, and it's going to be closer from here all the way around, so what I have to do is relieve the wall. But I hope you're understanding what we're in here. Okay, now I want you to look at this. The distance, if I can. The distance, how the heels get higher. I don't know if I'm showing you this that well. See there? If it was a normal foot, that internal foot be down like that. See? But when the capsule rotates, let's see if I can do it. This is what happens. So your bars and the sides of your wall and everything are growing. Okay, and the horse is sitting on his toe in the capsule, like that. See, it should be, there we go, should be like this. Alright, see there? Instead, it's like, nope, I'm rotating it the wrong way. Ha! No wonder things aren't working out for me. Okay, let's do that again. Should be like this. Okay, when the foot rotates, you got this number going on. See how close that toe is? How it's been pulled back and down while the rear has been pulled up, you know? So you have to take the toe down different, and the heels, you know, the heels will be clear up here. You have to get this foot, sitting at a decent angle and get the leverage off that laminar wedge in the toe, and the foot sitting down back here. And then you're going to want to probably support the foot with casting till all that can start growing out and adhering and stuff. But I guarantee you, and I believe this, that once you get all that laminar wedge out, and you get either some grooves in the hoof, something to release that dead part of the hoof, and then you support the horse's foot, that horse is going to start walking a lot better within a week. Okay? All right, so again, the more we know the internal foot here, the more we understand how this capsule should fit around the foot perfectly. Here's our bare foot here. Okay, the more we realize how that capsule ought to fit on this, all right, the more that we're going to recognize signs of distortion in the hoof wall capsule, how the foot is angled here at the coronary band. Are there ridges where it shows that the hairline here is moving up? You see? Things like that. Let's see, is there anything else I could share with you? Probably a million things. You can have x-ray vision, and it's better than an x-ray. I'm convinced of that. If you get to really know this foot, and you get to really know how this hoof capsule should be attached to it, then you're going to notice when it's not. You know, even the angle of the short and the long pastern bone. See, because that all gets kind of tweaked when this foot gets bent around. Look at there, I already got blue stuff on my fingers. All right, but see, now it's not going to show. All right. Let's see, I know there's probably something else I should share with you. Oh, let me think here. Well, I can't think anything right this minute, so I'm going to post this video. All right, God bless everyone.